What's up everyone, Justin with Apple here, and today I'm here to give you my full predictions on the iPad mini. The iPad mini is set to be announced next Tuesday on Apple's October 23rd event. And this will most likely be Apple jumping on the bandwagon, joining the budget consumer tablet market, which has had a significant growth ever since the Google Nexus 7 came out and Amazon's recent Amazon Kindle Fire, which is very, very promising. So is the Nexus 7. Those are both very, very powerful tablets. But the best part is that it is priced at a low $199. So Apple probably won't be pricing this at $199, probably near the $300 mark. I will be going into more details about the pricing and leaked inventory sheets later in this video, but let's go ahead and start out by talking about the display. The display is long rumored to be a 7.85 inch display, a little bit bigger than the 7-inch tablet seen at that $199 price range, which is good. 7-inch in my opinion is a little bit small, so adding about a 0.58 inch we should see a pretty good difference, and that is the rumor right now. There have also been some leaked display units, but the big question is, will Apple be using a Retina display? Right now it is rumored that Apple will be using a 1024 by 768 display, not Retina quality in terms of the PPI, but I won't give up hope of Apple including a Retina display, as all the current iOS devices right now do have a Retina display, which is very beautiful, and I have a feeling that Apple is going to try and default that on all their iOS devices. So I won't give up hope for that. We'll just have to wait and see what Apple does, but right now the rumor is that Apple will not be using a Retina display. In terms of the internals, I think Apple will be using an A5 processor, not the A5X, but an A5 processor as seen on the iPod Touch 5th generation, as well as the iPhone 4S. This processor is not as fast as the A6 processor, but it is still very fast, and when compared in test, there is a barely noticeable difference. Graphics still perform very, very well, and for the $300 budget, Apple does have to be careful in what they include in this to, one, not take away the sales from the flagship product, the iPad right now, which is priced at over $500, but at the same time, keep it as low as they can to still fit in with the budget consumer tablet market. In terms of the RAM, we should see a standard 500 megabytes. So overall with these specs, this iPad will be able to do lots of web browsing. It can browse that very smoothly, probably run most apps, some games. Overall, it will perform very, very well. Like we see on the iPhone 5, the A6 processor right now doesn't seem to have come with use, as it is very close to the A5 processor. So really it's up to the developers, but the A5 processor is very, very promising. Will we see a camera? I think we will see a camera, probably a 5 megapixel camera and 1080p video recording like seen on the iPod Touch 5th generation, and a 720p HD video for the front-facing FaceTime camera. So I think instead of calling this a smaller version of the iPad, I'd pretty much describe it as a bigger version of an iPod Touch 5th generation, as it does seem that the iPad mini will have a lot of the same stuff as the iPod Touch 5th generation. In terms of the form factor, it should be pretty close to the current iPad, very thin, but the question is, how big will the battery life be? So right now there have been some leaked batteries, and the rumor for the battery life is a 4,490 milliamp battery, 16.7 watt hour, and 3.72 volts. Apple tries to aim for a full day of use for most of their iOS devices, such as the iPad right now and the iPhones. So I think this is going to be true, somewhere around the 4,400, whatever they can fit in this form factor, is this is what will be taking space on most of the iPad. It will probably be available in 2 colors. We did see some renderings of some available in different colors, and although that would be pretty great, I think to stick with the iPad style, Apple will be having it in a standard black and white. In terms of the pricing, this is probably one of the biggest questions. As you know, the budget tablet market right now is just around the $200 range, so Apple is trying to go to compete with that market, as there has been a huge market growth in that, but I do not think by any chance Apple will have an iPad mini at $199. It would be nice, but it probably won't happen. As you know, the iPod Touch 5th generation starts out at $299 for a 32 gig model, so some leaked inventory lists at retail units at Germany leaked that the pricing converted into US dollars from euros would be a 8 gigabyte Wi-Fi model for $320 US, 8 gigabyte cellular model for $450, 16 gigabyte Wi-Fi model for $450, a 16 gigabyte cellular model for $580, 32 gig model for $580, and a 32 gig cellular model for $710, a 64 gig Wi-Fi model for $710, and a 64 gigabyte cellular model for $840. So the prices do go very high, getting pretty close and even into the price ranges of the current iPad 3. I don't really think Apple will be announcing this many models. We probably will see a 32 and 64 gig model, but the question is whether it would be an 8 or 16 gigabyte model to be at the starting price of just over $300, because as you know, the iPod Touch 5th generation is priced at $299 for a 32 gigabyte. And yes, I do think we will see a cellular model for this, most likely not 4G but 3G. So this tablet, as you can see from the specs and everything, is still a very fast tablet, such as the Google Nexus 7. It will probably compare very tightly with that, but it would be mostly aimed to kind of like an e-reader, web browser kind of thing, and pretty much as an entertainment device like the budget tablets on the market right now. So let me know what you guys think about this, how much you think it would cost. For now, we're going to have to wait and see what Apple announces on the October 23rd event, and we are rumored to see the iPad mini in stores and shipping to us on November 2nd. I am going to try to get my hands on this, so thanks for watching. I'll see you in my next video.